Good morning, students. We'll start now. In the last class, we started with first order logic and we discussed syntax and semantics of first order logic. And at the start, we discussed the its advantages over propositional logic, and later we talked about quantifiers also. So let me give two examples from NPTEL lectures, which will explain the advantage of first order logic over propositional logic one more time. So first example is, so these are the set of sentences given. Example first is all dogs are faithful. This is sentence number 1. Then Tommy is a dog. Okay, and what is the conclusion? These two premises are given and Tommy is faithful. Therefore, okay. So can we infer this conclusion from these premises using first order logic? The answer is no. Okay, so propositional logic cannot infer this fact from these two facts. Okay, so let me write this sentence as P and this as Q. Okay, now the meaning will be, so P and Q. So let me copy the okay, so sentence is, propositional sentence is this one, Q, sorry, Q implies, and let us say this third sentence is R. Okay, now can we infer this R from this P and Q in propositional logic? So no, we cannot infer that because we don't have such inference rule in propositional logic. Why? Because here first sentence is talking about all dogs and second is talking about a Tommy, one particular dog. Okay, so propositional logic will not cannot figure out the Tommy belongs to all dogs set. Okay, so propositional logic fails to infer such inferences. Okay, this is example number 1. Now example number 2. Sentence is all students who are hardworking and intelligent scores high marks. Now this is a general statement, and how can we show this sentence in propositional logic? Now propositional logic cannot talk about a group of people. Okay, so we have to write, so if John is one of the students, then we can write hardworking John, and so we have to use and symbol, then hardworking John and then intelligent John, this implies scores high John. Okay, so we have to talk about one particular student if you want to represent this sentence in propositional logic. And if we have second student, like let's say Aman, so we have to write separate fact for Aman now. Okay, and if you have infinitely many such students, then we have to write those many sentences for separately for each student. Okay, so that is the drawback of propositional logic. So it cannot handle when group of people is involved or group of any entities involved. So here all dogs, okay, so there was a set of dogs, here there is a set of students, okay. So so in such scenarios we can have uh, limitations for propositional logic. That's why our first order logic has introduced quantifiers. So here we have two quantifiers, universal quantifier and existential quantifier. So let us continue with this. So we have studied universal quantifier. It is indicated with inverted a, and it says for all. And if you use variable x, so it says for all x in the universe of discourse. And what do you mean by universe of discourse? So this is like a universal set. Okay, so if you consider a set of students, then universe of discourse will be a set of all the students. Okay, universal set of the students. Okay, so consider we have two predicates here. P of x is representing x is politician, and s of x is representing x is sportsman. So if we have for all x p of x, so p of x is politician, x is politician, it is true for all x, so that represents all are politician. Okay, all the people who are there in universe of discourse are politicians. Okay, so all are politician. Then second sentence, all x, if it is p of x implies s of x. Okay, if that person is politician, then he is sportsman also, and this is true for all. Okay, so it says all politicians are sportsmen. Okay, then next one is for all x p of x and s of x. Okay, so everybody is a politician as well as sportsman. Okay, and these two sentences are different. Okay, so if you find out the truth table of this, okay, so entries will be different, and I have explained the difference between these two sentences with example in last class, right? And the last sentence is for all x, so if x is politician, sorry, we have or here. Okay, so everybody is either a politician or sportsman. Okay, it is everybody is politician or sportsman. Okay, so this is about universal quantifier. The second one is existential quantifier, denoted by mirrored e. Okay, it says there exist. If you use variable, so that indicates for some x in the universe of discourse, or we can say that that condition is true for at least one x in the universe of discourse. There is element x such that. Okay, so this is how you can read this quantifier. Examples are, so same predicate is used here. Okay, so it says there exist some people who are politicians. Okay, so we can say that some are politicians, right? Then okay, so there exist some people who are politicians and sportsmen. Okay, so some politicians are sportsmen. Okay, so we can say that this sentence can be read as some politicians are sportsmen. Some persons are politician or sportsmen, right? Some persons are politicians or sportsmen. Now this sentence is tricky. There exist some people, if they are politician implies they are sportsmen. Okay, so now it is very hard to write a sentence for this. So here we are using this property. So P implies Q is equivalent to negation of P or Q. Now this sentence is true when P is false or Q is true, right? This expression is true when P is false. Okay, because we have a negation of P, right? So P is false or Q is true. Okay, so we can write this sentence as some persons are non-politicians or sportsmen. Okay, Some persons are non-politicians or sportsmen. So this is how we can write the English statements for implication when existential quantifier is there. Okay, so this is regarding quantifiers. Now we can have a nesting of quantifiers. Okay, that means a sentence will have multiple quantifiers. Now to express more complex sentences, we use multiple quantifiers. So consider the example, brothers are siblings. Okay, this is the sentence. Okay, so if we have brothers, that means they are siblings, right? Now how to how to represent this in first order logic? Now brotherhood relation involve two persons, right? Okay, so here that's why we have to use multiple quantifiers here. So if we have, okay, so if x and y are brother, that implies that they are siblings, right? And this is true for all such persons. That's why we can say that for all x and y, if they are brothers, then we can say that they are siblings. That implies they are siblings. Okay, so here you can see that we have used multiple quantifiers. Now when you have same quantifier for several variables, you can drop the quantifier. Okay, so I can drop this quantifier. Okay, so which is indicated here. Okay, now sibling relationship is symmetric one. Okay, so when we say x is a sibling of y, that indirectly implies that y is sibling of x, right? So for symmetric relationship we have this equivalence. So okay, so which is for all x and y, sibling x comma y is equivalent to sibling y comma x. Okay, so this sibling relationship is symmetric one. For other cases, okay, so consider here we have loves relation. So when we say loves x comma y, so this indicates x loves y. Okay, that doesn't mean, which is not equivalent to loves y comma x, right? When x loves y, that doesn't mean y loves x, right? So this is a asymmetric relationship. Okay, now this sentence is indicating everybody loves someone. Okay, everybody loves somebody. Okay, so this is the example of asymmetric relation. Okay, and did you get the meaning of this sentence? Everybody loves someone. Okay, they can be the parent, right? Everyone loves their parent, right? Okay, then next one, on the other hand, to say there is someone who is loved by everyone. Okay, so here we have a passive voice. So in such cases you have to just reverse the order of quantifiers. Okay, so did you get the difference? This sentence is in active voice and this sentence is in passive voice, right? In such cases you have to reverse the order of these quantifiers. Now what is the meaning of this? There is someone who is loved by everyone. Okay, this someone can be celebrities, right? Celebrities are loved by everyone, right? Okay, so just remember this. Okay, so if the sentence is in passive voice, you have to just reverse the order of quantifiers. Now some confusion can arise when two quantifiers are used with same variable name. So here we have outer universal quantifier, and in the inner bracket also we have used same variable, that is x. Okay, now this x will overrule the scope of this outer x. Okay, so this bracket is from here to here, right? This x is actually referring to the innermost x. Okay, so in order to avoid such confusion, we can directly use separate variable for inner brackets. Okay, so we can replace the inner bracket with z variable. Okay, and Richard comma z. Okay, so this is like a local variable, right? So if you in C language, if you define x as a global variable, and if you define x in the local scope, the local variable x will overrule the value of outer x value, right? Just like that, so this innermost x will overrule the scope of this. Okay, so in this bracket, this x is going to refer this x. Okay, now general identities. So there is a relationship between this for all and there exist. Okay, so what are those? So remember these identities. For all x not of p is equivalent to not of there exist x p. Now how to find out this? So for that you can use this identity. Not of p is equivalent to p, right? Two knots cancel each other. So if I do, so let me take LHS, and if I say not of for all x negation of p. Okay, and we have seen the rules of negation in the previous class. For taking a negation, you have to replace for all with there exist. Okay, replace there exist with for all, and you have to negate the scope of quantifiers, right? So apply the same rule here. So not of, okay, so first I will solve the inner bracket. Okay, so negation of this thing. Okay, so I have to replace this, right? So I will replace this with existential. Okay, and then I have to negate the scope of the quantifier. Okay, so we will have not of p, so which is equivalent to p only. Okay, and we have got the RHS. This is equivalent to RHS. Okay, so for getting identities, these identities, you apply this rule. Okay, so this is double negation rule, right? Okay, so let us see this second example also. So our LHS is not of for all x p. Okay, so what I will do, I will take a double negation of this. Okay, now this double negation, okay, actually there is no need of taking double negation here. Just apply the negation to this. So for all will become there exist x, and we have to negate the quantifier, right? So there exist x not of p. Okay, and here also, so you can derive this and this also. Now you have to note down these two equivalence. Now what we have here, so we should have a bracket here. Okay, for all x, p of x and q of x. Now this universal quantifier is distributive over and it is not distributive over or. Okay, so this is equivalent, and our existential quantifier is distributive over or, and it is not distributive over and. Okay, so we have only two distributive laws in case of a universal and existential quantifier. Please note down this. Okay, so remember, for universal quantifier is distributive over and existential quantifier is distributive over or. Okay, distributive means what? I have distributed this over these two things, right? Okay, so remember this identities, and okay, remember this rules of negation. Now let us solve few problems related to negation. So we have this expression, okay, and we have to find a negation of this formula. Such kind of problems are very very frequent in GATE and in AI papers also. So we have to find a negation of this. Okay, so we have to find a negation of this. So this will be equal to, okay, now apply the rules of negation. Okay, so for all x will become there exist x. Okay, just reverse the quantifiers. Okay, and there exist y will become for all y, and then we have to negate this complete square bracket. Okay, so we have outer square bracket, right? Okay, so we have to find out a complete negation of that. Okay, I will not write this. Okay, just consider the square bracket. Now here we have implication, so I can remove that implication with implication elimination rule, so it will become negation of f. Okay, so here bracket are same, right? So I will drop that, and then or, and then curly bracket g or h. Okay, so what is the implication elimination rule? So if p implies q is equivalent to negation of p or q, right? Okay, so same I have done here, negation of f or this curly bracket. Then okay, so here we can apply a De Morgan's law. Okay, so De Morgan's law, so p or q, negation of this is equivalent to negation of p and negation of q, right? So here we have or operator, so let us apply De Morgan's law. Okay, so we will have negation of f. Okay, we have to reverse or operator, that is and negation of g or h, curly bracket. Okay, no need of square bracket now. Double negation will cancel out, so we will have f and okay, again we apply the De Morgan's law, so negation of g and negation of h. Okay, so final answer is this one. Okay, so we have there exists x, there exists y, and final is f of x and negation of g of xy and negation of h of xy. Any doubt in this problem? Okay, so you have to remember those inference laws. Okay, so we'll move to next problem. Okay, you try this problem. The statement formula for all x, p of x and negation of q of x. Okay, so curly bracket should be here. Is equivalent to this. Which is the correct option? Okay, C option. C is correct. Okay, so now we want to find the equivalence. Okay, now for all in the option you can see there exists. Okay, so you can convert this for all to there exists by negation, right? So what we can do, we can take the double negation of given sentence. Okay, so double negation for all x, p of x and negation of q of x. Okay, now we'll keep one negation outside. Now we have to find negation of this entire thing. Okay, this thing. Okay, so for all will become there exist x. Okay, now two options are gone, a and b are gone. Okay, then we have to negate the inner part, right? Predicate. Okay, so then p of x and negation of q of x. Okay, then negation of there exists x. Okay, now apply De Morgan's law. Okay, De Morgan's law says negation of p of x. Okay, ये जो and है इसको और करना पड़ेगा, then double negation of this will become q of x. Okay, now this is the inverse of implication elimination, right? Reverse of implication elimination. Okay, now which is option C. Okay, so answer is C. Any doubt in this? Okay, now third problem. Okay, try this problem. consider universe of discourse u equals to, okay, natural numbers. Okay, universe of discourse is natural number. Our predicate is g of xy, x is greater than y. Okay, for any integer there is a greater positive integer. Okay, this is a sentence which is true. For any integer there is a greater positive integer. For 1 we have 2 3 onwards, for 3 we have 4 5 onwards, right? For any integer there is a greater positive integer. Which of the following first order logic sentences correctly represents above sentences? Above sentence. Which is the correct option? Anyone? Okay, so let us read this sentence. For all x there exists some y such that x is greater than y. Okay, so this sentence is representing every positive integer is greater than some positive integer. Is it true? I repeat the English statement. Every positive integer, so this x and y is going to be positive integer, right? They are positive integer. This sentence is saying every positive integer is greater than some positive integer. Is it true? I repeat, every positive integer is greater than some positive integer. It is false for 1, right? 1 is a positive integer and it is not greater than any positive integer. Greater है क्या? नहीं है. Okay, so this sentence is false. Okay, did you get this? Okay, now here we have reversal of quantifiers. Okay, so just now I said that if you have a reversal of quantifiers, you have to take a passive voice. Okay, so g of xy is indicating x is greater than y. Reversal will say that, okay, y is smaller than x. Okay, y is smaller than x. So this sentence is indicating there exists some positive integer. There exists some positive integer which is smaller than all. There exists some positive integer which is smaller than all. It is again false for 1. When you say all, okay, so 1 is also there, right? 1 is not smaller than 1. Smaller than है क्या वो? नहीं है, right? So this sentence is also false. Now take D. Okay, there exists some positive integer which is greater than everyone. This sentence is saying that there exists some positive integer which is greater than everyone, every positive integer. Is this true? Here we have infinitely many elements, right? So if you consider a very large number, still we have numbers in front of that, right? So this is also false. Okay, so C is the option, but let us find out the English statement of this. For so it says that for every positive integer, there exists some number, every positive integer is smaller than some number. This is the meaning of this sentence. Okay, because here we have a reversal of quantifiers, right? So we have to use smaller than, right? Every positive integer is smaller than some number. Okay, so this is true. okay, and which is actually indicating this line only, x is greater than y. Did you get this example? I repeat the English statement of this. Every positive integer is smaller than some positive integer, at least one positive integer, right? So this is nothing but this sentence only, so C is the option. Okay, now final topic is equality. Okay, so when we discuss syntax of the first order logic, we noted there that first order logic has equality sign also. Okay, it was not there in propositional logic. So consider a sentence, any number is a successor of its predecessor. Okay, so when you consider a number line 1 2 3 4, for 3 its predecessor is 2, this is a predecessor and this is a successor. Okay, now this line is saying that any number is the successor of its predecessor, which is true, right? So if you consider 1 2 3, okay, so successor of predecessor of 2 is equals to 2. This is the meaning of this sentence. Any number is the successor of its predecessor. Okay, now predecessor of 2 is what? 1. Okay, predecessor of 2 is 1, and then okay, so inner bracket is replaced by 1. Successor of 1 is what? 2, right? Equals to true. So this sentence is clear to you, right? Okay, now it can be represented as for all x. Okay, so here universe of discourse is numbers. Okay, so for all numbers we have equal function here. So x is equals to successor of predecessor of x. Okay, so instead of equal function we can use equality operator. Okay, so it says that this sentence can be written as for all x successor of predecessor of x equals to x. Okay, so you can use equality operator. Now it also shows equivalence between two terms. Okay, so consider John's father is Henry. Okay, so this is one fact and this is another fact. Okay, so father of John is Henry. Okay, so this is one fact, this is another fact. We can show the equivalence between them using equality operator. Says that the object referred by father of John and the object referred by Henry are the same. The equality symbol can be used to state facts about the given function. Okay, as we just did for the father symbol. Okay, another example is Richard has at least two brothers. Richard has at least two brothers. Okay, so how to indicate this? So here see, there exists x and y such that x is a brother of Richard and y is a brother of Richard, and x and y are not same. Okay, so by adding this condition we are ensuring that this x and y are separate persons. Okay, and if they are a separate person, that will ensure that Richard has at least two brothers. Okay, and if consider if we don't have a equality symbol, okay, so we could not have written this sentence, right? So if we don't write this, so this sentence will become there exists x and y, brother x comma Richard, brother y comma Richard. Now if you don't write this x and y can be same person. Okay, they may represent same person. Okay, so this is the importance of equality symbol. Okay, so in such a scenario you cannot use any other symbol. Okay, so this is how with the help of equality symbol we have increased the representative power of the first order logic. Okay, so we'll stop here. Any doubt in any topic that we discussed today? We started with universal quantifier with more examples. then existential quantifiers, and then nesting of the quantifiers. Okay, so we can have multiple quantifiers in the sentence. This is used to represent more complex sentence. And we talked about symmetric relationship, where you can replace x and y. Okay, these are the parameters, but some relations are asymmetric, like loves x comma y, right? Then we talked about this. Okay, so when we have a reversal of the quantifiers, you have to take a passive voice of the predicate. Okay, so our predicate is, if you ignore this, our predicate is x loves y. Okay, then if you have a reversal, that indicates y is loved by x. Okay, and we have seen these general identities. How to find these general identities? You take a double negation of the LHS, you will get the negation, identity, and for that you need rules of negation. And this is very important. Universal quantifier is distributive over and existential quantifier is distributive over or. And then we have solved these three numericals by applying the rules of inference, and then we talked about equality. Okay, so we'll stop here. In tomorrow's lecture we'll solve some problems from university papers based on first order logic.